This is my photo frame. What's cool about it is you can actually remove and replace the photo at will. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made this. Okay, so here are my plans for the frame. I know my lengths, I know where I'm going to put my cuts, I know how deep my cuts are going to go, and I know what steps I'm going to take. So we are ready to go. So initially I was going to use this wood on another project, but it turned out to be a little bit too warped for what I had in mind, so it'll be perfect for what we're doing today. I'm going to go ahead and cut it into two pieces. The first piece is going to be for our 7-inch walls. The second piece is going to be for our 9-inch walls. Go ahead and take them over to the table saw. We'll strip these down to the correct widths. I'm actually going to do this in 2 passes so it squares up both sides. First pass, a little over an inch. Second pass will bring it to a square inch. Next up, I'm just going to give these a rough sand right now because it'll help a lot later on post glue up if there are any major sanding marks or cut marks from the blade. Sanding them now will just help us a lot later on. I like to square up these sides real quick just to make sure they're all nice for the 45-degree angle miters, which we're going to do here in a second. Get those nice and clean, perfect using the rail guide and the wall. Always be safe, guys. Wear eye protection. Always mind your fingers. Next up is the inlay cut. We're going to keep a 1/2 inch of wood in between our wall and our blade. That's going to give us a perfect inlay cut for our photograph. Alright, we're back in from the workshop, and what we have are these beautiful side pieces that are going to fit perfectly together with this cut. Next up, what we got to do is wood glue them together. Once they're wood glued together, we're going to work on adding some spleens to the corners, which are going to reinforce those connections and also add style to the piece. This is just your standard glue up. I used tape to hold all the sides in a line. I used a wet paper towel to clean up the insides of these corners. They're going to squeeze out the excess glue, and definitely make sure to use extra glue. You want to use excess here. Make sure you have solid connections. Once that's dry, we're going to take it over to our spleener jig. We're going to run it across the table saw and get a nice spleen across each corner. These are not only going to add style, but they're going to add structure and integrity to these corner connections. Make sure they're super solid. I chose black walnut as our contrasting wood because I like the way the light and the dark wood looks on each color. Even though we're going to be staining it at the end, I still like the way it looks. I've been trying to learn a few different woodworking techniques and styles recently, one of which being this spleen technique. And I built a new jig and all that good stuff, and honestly what I love about the spleens is it's a way of adding a little bit of complexity to an otherwise simple idea. That you take these corners, you glue them together, and you not only add beauty, but functionality to them. And contrasting colors, all that good stuff. I love these spleens. Once that is fully cured, we are going to make quick work of that excess material on the disc sander. It's going to square up these sides nicely, but it's going to leave a lot of sanding marks on each side. We're going to have to refinish it all the way back to about 200 grit, which is why I sanded it beforehand. It's going to make this process a lot easier. And finally, we just got to add this final drop down slit, which is going to allow us to drop our photos from the top. So I imagined a darker shade of wood when I did this project, so I'm going to actually be staining it with black walnut stain since we're using a lighter color scrap wood to build this frame. And I actually really love the way it turned out. You don't get to see those spleens quite as well, but I still love the contrast in the colors. And finally, we're going to center this eyelet so we can hang it up on the wall and then work on the photograph we're going to be putting inside. I chose a photo of my dog, Johnny Boy, and he looks fantastic in this frame. I also commissioned photos. If anybody is interested in getting one of these frames or photos commissioned, please let me know. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Guys, smash that like button. I'm just getting into this YouTube thing. If you guys want to drop me a follow, I would really appreciate it. And if you have any other ideas for projects you'd like to see me work on in the future, I have a long list. But I would love to hear from you guys in the comments, in my messages. Let me know. Thanks for watching.